Svetasvatara Upanisad. We are now on mantra 8. That's page number 75. Mantra 8 of this book. I'll, as usual, chant the mantra in Sanskrit and then read out the translation. Sangyuktam etat ksharam aksharam cha vyakta vyaktam bharate vishvam ishaha anishascha atma badyate bhoktri bhavat jnatva deva muchyate sarva pasai. The translation is: the Lord nourishes this universe consisting of the mutually associated, manifested and the unmanifested, which are respectively the mutable and the immutable. The individual soul, which is not independent, becomes bound due to its sense of being the enjoyer. Realizing the effulgent being, it becomes freed from all bondages.
Realizing
as
a supreme being.
The supreme being or the effulgent being.
You have a different?
No.
There's that translation is slightly. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's a quite after we've come down from the heights. The rishi, the sage, he takes us through the various factors of what constitutes a universe, and then we leave that behind and we go straight to the supreme. And now slowly he's coming down a little to our level of trying to make sense of the individual soul and the supreme soul, and what constitutes a real bondage. So here in this mantra, we have him, the Rishi Svetasvatara, talking about the individual soul and the supreme soul. And so we go down to page number 76. That's where the commentary is. So Isha, the Lord. Isha is also, the Sanskrit root is ish, to control, to be the master. So here he is the Lord. So the Lord, because till now we were talking about the impersonal God. Now we are coming down to something called the personal God. But personal God, you must understand, it is not in the sense of a person. In Vedanta, the personal God, Isha, is the sum total of all souls. The sum total of all souls is the personal God. Because in many traditions, the personal God means, it has to be either Christ or Buddha or Ramakrishna or this. So, in Vedantic parlance, the personal God is Isha, Ishwara. That's the word Ishwara comes from that same Isha.
Wada means what? Water.
Ish.
Water. What's the water?
I will come down to that later. So we have this Isha. Even Shiva is called Isha. Ishana. One of his names is Ishana, the Lord. But it doesn't matter. Like I said, the personal God is the sum total of all souls. That means all our personalities all our personalities, our individualities rather, are, in the collective, in that Isha, that God, that collective personal God. So that's right. Uh, the trees and the plants and the animals and the birds and everything. We cannot say, oh, he is only meant for the human beings. No, the whole universe is his, you can say, personality, his body. And the next word is bharate, is bharana. That is to nourish, to, you can say, fulfill, to take care. This whole universe, Vishwan, this whole universe, the Lord nourishes, takes care of this whole universe. And this is where we need to understand. We will bring up so many objections, and the world is going to the dogs, and this and that. Is there no one to look after this? Or there's no power to correct this? Or it seems as if the good people suffer more and the evil people, they get away with everything. Is there no kind of a judge there? Nobody is looking out after us. So what's this? And we have various questions. Yeah, there is a policeman, and the policeman. We need a policeman always try to. But yeah, I mean, there is a Lord who cares for His creation, looks after His creation. We were just talking about the homeless and this and that. And is there no God? Maybe he's a believer, and what's happened? Somewhere down, we need to even question some of the things that we have done and thought, that we may have forgotten, or it must have been casually done. Those effects have come. And if we study, why did this blow come about? Why did the blow come from where? I will trace it down back to something that I had done. So in Indian philosophy is, you cannot blame God for your state of affairs. You've got to correct yourself. Okay, I have done some mistakes there. So what is there? Now I'm going to walk the straight path. That's it. There is no God who punishes you because, oh, yeah, he's my, you can say, he's not my favorite. Yeah, and that guy's my favorite. I'll do everything for him. What he does is, he or she, I'm sorry, is offers you the fruits of what you have done. Karma phala data. So he looks after this whole creation, nourishes the whole creation. And here we are, it's always like that. It's somehow, this, if you look at this whole universe, somehow it seems so strange, and there are so many people, more than 7 billion people, and how are they fed, and how do they feed themselves, and the water and the air and this and that? Why doesn't the whole system collapse? Feeding one or two persons at home is a huge task. And there are nations who are feeding people, and how does this thing happen? Even the land which is put under the plow, or is, from where crops are grown, it seems so tiny. The production of grains or whatever seems so inadequate. How do people have so much food to eat and this and that? Somehow the whole thing is a mystery. Yes, even if you look at it from a very logical standpoint, it's very puzzling. How come so much food can feed so many people? Yeah, and it's like in the Bible that this no the loaves and the fish and the loaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, how Christ multiplies the whole thing and distributes it. Something like that happens. I am fully convinced. Some multiplication is going on. Yeah, and in one of the goddess, the aspects of the goddess, divine mother is Annapurna, one who's can say who feeds. Her job is to feed everybody, and there she is. Shri Ramakrishna says no one goes hungry. Some get their food in the morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evening, but everybody will get their food. And once we take up a body, uh, the Yoga Sutra says it's more or less fixed. What species are you going to be born in? Jati, Ayu, your age, and your experiences. What your pain, pleasure. So when you are born, that's it.
Yeah, it's fixed.
Maybe, yeah, it's more or less fixed. You can extend it a few years to healthy food, exercise, this, that, and all that. But then that's a job of God to keep on, or nature, or if you like to have that, to keep on. You don't have to bother. Then what's wrong with that? Why shout? Hey, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Oh, yeah, you're hungry. After 1 day or 2 days, 3 days, you'll get your food. No doubt about it. And especially in the life of Vivekananda, we had plenty of time. He's hungry. In India, traditionally, uh, we had to beg our food. You go to a house and then you beg your food. And then somebody comes and gives something. So I remember once I went to one house and that I seen so poor, and that old lady came out and she was saying, "Oh, oh, my child, you have come here. There's nothing in my house, but there is some, puffed rice. What do you call as moody puffed rice? No? Will you take that? Anything." So she gave me that, and then I came out, and then I went to another place because there's a rule: you can 5 houses, 3 houses, or 5 houses, or 7 houses. If you don't get anything, stay hungry. And the next house I went and, oh, you come, hey, they loaded my, you can say, kind of a sling bag with all the goodies. So it's there. It's not only physical nourishment, but all types of nourishment: mental, moral, spiritual. The Lord is looking after His creation. Not only looking after, because the Lord is involved, He's immanent in creation. So there we have. Yeah, right. So this karma, this cause and effect. This whole universe is like this. And what are this? It is in the mantra. It is vyaktam and avyaktam, the manifest. All modification, everything that you see is all modification. They are revealed. Vyakta is it's revealed, and avyakta is which is not revealed. There are many things which are not revealed yet. Things that have not yet modified yet to appear in our vision, and because they say that's a power of, you can say, nature, Maya, is the unmanifest. So this world is a duality of manifest and unmanifest. We don't see the germs and the bacteria around the earth, but they could be the cause of some illness. But I never saw this thing. But you never saw these things. They were right now, more or less non-manifest to you. But now we've got machines and we've got everything to see these things. In India, this was the idea of germs was so, you can say, prevalent, and that's the reason why don't shake hands and don't sneeze, and then wash your hands, and then before meals, and then all these, most of these habits regarding this cleanliness, uh, it's a religious duty, it's a religious practice. It was actually nothing but just to avoid being sick. And religion came and saying these are religious practices. Yes, to do it. And people forgot the original, you can say, idea behind why these things ought to be done. So the germ theory was was a long back developed, not in its present form, but it was there to just stay clean. That's what. And you go somewhere, you come back. You come back home. You cannot come back straight in your room. Go and have a bath and come. Oh yeah, you bathe and come, so you can clean off all those impurities and germs and whatever. We've strayed, but then I was talking about Avyakt, that's non-manifest. This world is a mixture of both manifest and non-manifest, and what is mutable and immutable. These two things. So it's an interplay of all these forces. And that's the reason why we have all this variety. There are no two similar things. If there are two exactly similar things, nature will remove one. Because nature is very stingy in a way. Why waste resources creating two similar things? You show me two similar things in the universe. They may appear similar. No. And that's what I tell people, that each person is unique. There's no one like you in this universe. You are, no, that person is like me. No, there's no person like you. Oh, yes. So the interplay of both these forces, the mutable and the immutable, the manifest and the unmanifest, they have created this whole universe. Now, the problem comes here. And we see this creation, we see this form, this universal form, and we forget. Because when you go to a movie, you know you're going to a movie, or you're going for a magic show. But while you're witnessing that magic or the movie, you're forgetting everything. It's a movie. I remember once I had gone for a movie. It's a tearjerker. And somebody told me, you take a bath towel and go. So I was wondering, why should I?
Take a what?
No,
Best.
That.
a towel, a big towel.
Oh, big towel.
Best.
Saying, I don't know why. No, you might need it.
All those tears, huh?
And then when I went there, I started crying. No, I never needed a big towel. He was kidding me. But then it was a real tearjerker, and after I came, my friend was right in telling me all this. And then I recommended kind of a small, napkin or a towel to my other friends. You go to the movie. It was so emotional. And I looked around and seeing if I'm embarrassed. I'm looking around. I said, I'm in good company.
Everyone was crying.
Almost everyone was.
What is the story about?
Just the story?
Oh, it's a story of a little boy torn between parents. Oh, it was such a... And there you are. Sri Ramakrishna says also that we forget the magician, we forget the... And we are enamored. We are absorbed in it. And for the moment, there you are. And that's what magic is about. And that's the reason why it's called magic. we forget our own immutable nature, and we get caught up in this world of duality. The manifest, unmanifest, the mutable and immutable. We get caught up in this duality. It's a huge error. But then we can't help it. But where do we come from? Yeah, that is it. Our individuality is actually in the universal, right? But we have forgotten. And the characteristics of this individuality is bhoktri bhava. That is the feeling that yes, I am hungry, I will eat this, I am thirsty, I will have this, I want to see this, I want to hear this, sense this, touch this. Bhoktri is not simply an enjoy, it's an experience. Yeah, why didn't I just walk out of that movie when it started? I don't know, let's see. Then what happened? Then let's see. We have got caught up in that wheel and we are moving down there. So we also, after experience a little, oh, I can dismiss this. There's no problem. It's very easy. I'm strong enough. And then you're caught up. They're saying, the nature holds your hand and draws you. Here, come. I'll give you a little more. No, I don't want. See it. Swami Vivekananda says, nature. What she does is, she whips us and we cry, and then she gives us gingerbread, and we laugh. And that's what we are actually we are doing. This world it's a prison house. Individuality is a prison house. Let's break it. And nature comes. Wait. Not yet. Like yesterday we were talking about Saint Augustine, and in his Confessions, I've read it, but then I never really remembered a line. Here Saint Augustine prays, "Oh Lord, free me from lust," but not yet. There we are. And we were discussing this. I think it's in the Confessions. Saying yes, maybe I missed it, but then it's like this. Wait a little while. I'll have a little something. Even in Greek mythology, everywhere you find people getting trapped. Vivekananda says, we are like that honeybee. We came to drink in the honey, but our feet got stuck. And there we are. We're trying to pull ourselves out. That quicksand. This quicksand of our own experiences, the desire to intensify this. And when those experiences get cloyed, our senses get cloyed, we try to sharpen the senses, like whetting the, you can say, the whetting stone, and you use a kind of a knife to, sharpen.
Yeah.
It's like, I've had one chocolate. Let's have another. And the brain rewards you. Oh yeah. It kind of rush of serotonin. And, oh yeah, and it's a reward, and that's why it's more neurological. People get go for that thing, and then there's a kind of a tuck reward. You eat sugar or you take drugs or have alcohol or whatever, the brain kind of rewards you, and then you want more and more. There you are. I've caught you now. So it is this, the feeling of I am the experience. And the nature comes and says, yes, I've got plenty of things for you. Come, I'll give you this and this and this. Oh, but then wait, I've not finished yet. I'll give you another chance. You come again. And you come again. And then haven't finished yet. You come again. And I'll give you all the opportunities. You come again, come again, come again. And there we are caught in that web of, you can say, experiencer and experienced. Now, instead of experiencing God, we are experiencing.
But if you experience God in all your experiences, then there's no problem. Then
That's over for you.
then
The play is over for you. But Sri Ramakrishna says, mother does not like somebody getting out of the play. Yeah. That is somehow. Somehow. There are 100 million kites, mothers flying. You have kites and you have a long string, and then the kites are flying, and then sometimes one or two break free, and then mother claps. Hey, that's gone. Okay, fine. But the granny does not like the play to end. There's a Indian game like touch the granny. You touch the granny and the granny.
One of the things that we discussed in my group at the retreat, somebody said, well, why do we want enlightenment,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was like,
why not?
So
Yeah, why
in the
not?
middle of all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
There. In fact,
I don't think it was serious.
in my Santa Barbara talk, this day after tomorrow,
Yeah.
and also will be given here in Hollywood. I'm going to talk about the goal. And why should we have a goal at all? No, every human being is goal oriented.
Yeah.
Creatures too. They may have just food for today because they cannot think of tomorrow like the way we do. I'll build a house and I'll build a mansion and I'll have this and I'll have that, and they are biological creatures. For them, if we give them food, and it's okay, a food and they're safe. Okay. So why should they? But they are also oriented, and there are some people. Why should you run for enlightenment? Oh, yes, but do you want peace? You want peace and happiness? So that is a goal. There are some who like pleasure and they go for the pleasure. Yeah. So we have a goal. The sum total of all goals is enlightenment. You've done away with all these small things. Now you're going for higher things. What is the goal of life? What is the goal of this universe? Why should you wait quietly? Even in India, we say, why should you bother? Then we try to say, is there a shortcut?
Oh, yeah.
And you see in the Kumbh Mela, millions and millions of people. You cannot imagine the crowds and
What
the
is a
people.
Kumbh Mela?
Kumbh Mela is the huge, you can say, fair. Once in every 12 years that is held in India. The one, I think it's over now. I think, or the Shivratri, I think is the last holy dip in the Ganga, in the river Ganga. It's at Allahabad. Now the name has changed, of course, prior. So every 12 years. And they say during that constellations and all these, they calculate all these things. And during that time, at that moment, muhurta, that auspicious moment, if you bathe, you will be free from samsara. You become liberated. So you cannot imagine. It's not the educated people mostly who go there. people of all classes, of all types, poor, they have not even heard about that city where it's going to be held. And it's actually a whole city comes up.
Wow.
Yeah, of course, 15, 20 million people coming.
Can't even
Whoa.
You cannot imagine, yeah.
No.
And trains
Oh my
coming,
God.
special trains and planes and buses and this and that. The whole city and the whole kind of a city administration that, oof,
Where is that, Swamiji?
in Allahabad. I was in
Heard
Kanpur
of it.
just before coming here.
Allahabad.
Allahabad, that is North India. From Benares,
Ah.
it's about 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Prague.
You're gonna go?
No. I'm just curious where it's.
Oh, Kumbh. Kumbh is the pot. Mela is a fair. That was
Kumbh
that was the pot of nectar. You know, it's a long story. To cut it short, the gods tricked the demons into having all the nectar. That's what made them immortal.
Mela.
So, so one demon, he saw through the whole thing. Hey, just a moment. This is the Kumbh. And then he snatched the pot and he fled, and the gods chased him. And then, as he was, running about, a few drops of that nectar fell on those places in Prayagraj, in Haridwar, in Nasik, and all these places. So annually, and Shankaracharya, what he did was, all the people should converge. All the monks, all the types of monks, different types of monks, they come, and you cannot imagine. You cannot really imagine.
Shankaracharya had something to do with this too. This fair.
Yeah, they say that he there was a fair even prior to him, but then he said all monks will come and settle any scriptural dispute if there is. There are these great wise monks called Mandaleshwar, Mahamandaleshwar. And you won't believe, people with such devotion, they come. They don't know anything about scriptures. They don't know anything much. They are religious. In that simple way, they have faith. And they come, and it's cold, shivering cold. It's winter, and people dip themselves, freed from all this. But if they have the faith, as Mother says, they must have the faith that I am being cleansed of all my past karma.
How many days do they do this?
It is about 3 months.
3 months?
Yes.
So the town has like 12 million people?
Yes.
For 3
just-
months and then it disappears?
Yes.
Wow.
The whole city is like, dismantled then.
Oh,
But every 7 years.
12 years.
Every
12,
12
years, and there's Ardha Kumbh Mela every 6 years. So, yeah. Oh, you haven't.
I never heard.
We never heard. I
You,
never heard of
you.
it.
Oh, I've
from,
heard of it.
There are
I just
satellite.
couldn't
There are
imagine,
satellite
yeah.
images show.
Oh my
God,
God.
What's the
people.
name of it? I can find the YouTube.
Yeah,
What's
Kumbh Mela, Kumbha
the Kumbh
Mela, Mela.
Mela means apple in Italian.
Fair, yeah.
Mela MELA
L-A.
Kumbh Mela.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check internet.
Mm.
Kumbh Mela. Wow.
Oh,
It's like a Burning Man in America, but like
No,
but 10 times,
no.
10 times bigger.
mm. Oh, yeah. It's the largest gathering of humanity in one
I
place.
think I would go. I wouldn't like it.
Oh, you have all these Hollywood stars going out there. You are Hollywood and you
really?
don't know anything about this.
Yeah,
You
never
have all
heard-
these
never heard of it.
big stars going on for a kind of a dip also.
Oh, really?
Oh,
For a dip.
A dip?
Really?
So
It is-
people stay there for 3 months.
You don't
When
have
they
to
go-
stay.
You
no?
don't have to. There are some monks who stay there for
Take
3
a
months.
dip and that's
But then
Oh,
you take a
take a-
dip and leave.
Take a dip.
They
So
stay for a day or two,
Uh-huh.
and there is food arrangements and huge.
You have to put up all these
restrooms
hotels, I
and-
imagine. Have thousands of hotels or
Toilets. How about toilets?
Yes, they are
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
All toilets are installed. Food. There are a lot of associations and
Oh.
societies that
That's
they
it,
supply food, free food. And,
Really?
For a poor, I mean, I think of it as a, well, it probably isn't anymore, but like a poor country to put that kind of thing on. Like,
India is
it's
not a
like-
poor country anymore.
I know it isn't. I know. I hear that.
But it appears because we never trusted those British.
Yeah.
They'll tax us, they'll take our money, so appear poor.
Appear
Don't-
poor.
don't-
Wow,
Don't show
really?
your wealth.
Oh, this secret.
Don't show your wealth, or they'll
Yeah.
taxman commit.
Yeah, the taxation.
So Swami, they do Kumbh Mela during the winter time?
Yes, it is. It started in end of November, December.
Oh, that's
Uh,
why it really takes a faith to dip into the cold water.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
And
Mm.
that's the Sangam where the
uh-huh.
Ganga and Jamuna, come
The
and
two rivers
combine,
meet.
and there's a Saraswati underneath. So three.
So three rivers meet together.
Ashram in Allahabad, Prayagraj, they have a huge, you can say, tent. Many monks come, devotees come, they can
Oh.
stay, and
Oh,
they are
really?
fed. Oh yes, huge.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
Oh really?
No.
I'm
Oh
going to go
God,
check
oh
it.
God. You missed something. I think you better check up on this.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it just finished. Just finished. Yes.
I think yes, almost towards the
So you have to
end.
wait 12 years.
Another 12 years.
6 years, half is there.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
In 6 years they do another.
Yeah,
one.
you can go for the next.
Make reservations now.
So
Yeah.
the idea is we may think that I want this, I want that, but underneath you have this idea of moksha, of liberation, and it's amazing in India and Nepal, Tibet, all these places. No, the people are so gripped with this that the goal of human life is moksha, to be liberated from the samsara. Who wants to come back again? But we are poor, we don't have that kind of means to practice all these religious austerities and this and that. So here we are. Hinduism has given this kind of opportunity. If you have faith, you can wash away. And that's the idea behind pilgrimages. We go for pilgrimages not to see the deity, of course, darshan, but you undertake hardships while on the pilgrimage, so you can wear out your karma, go out there and have the
Oh,
vision.
that's the idea of a pilgrimage, to wear out your karma.
Yeah. And why do
Because of
people go to Benaras? Because whatever you are, if you die in Benaras,
That's it.
that's it. Free.
I know. You didn't know that.
No more.
No, because when Sri Ramakrishna said it, I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe it now. So
Hmm. So
I may.
there deep within, you may say, why enlightenment?
In one place.
Yeah, but deep down, you are seeking a kind of a joy, and you can say stability. That the individuality or their body itself has become like a kind of prison, because we feel its limitations every moment.
Yeah.
You want to break out, break free. And I have had enough. I've had enough of this. And now what? But now you're bound by your commitments, by your responsibilities, by this, by that, hundreds of things. So why enlightenment? Either now or later on, you will pursue it. It will
Not
be
my
there.
question. I don't have a problem with it. But Swami, say you have I find myself very curious, especially now that I have time, about a lot of different things. So I can see how really, you're kind of trapped by these different interests and
Oh yes.
yeah.
Exactly like what we came to drink the honey, but our feet got stuck up there. So it's like this. We are crushed under these wheels of the world machine, and we must understand that we are innately that divinity, and that divinity will never be satisfied with these illusory things, these playthings, these toys. You will have to one day confront. What was I doing all this time? And it's not nobody going to blame you for it. They're not going to blame you. Fine, come over now. You've had enough? Yeah, come over. That's the idea.
Don't
So-
people just get old and think, oh, this drops away, everybody's dead, everybody's whatever, and there's nothing to hang on to. You're free, then, in a sense.
As long as you have this sense of I,
Yeah.
you're not free. And when it comes to thou, oh Lord, it's you, then you become free. And enlightenment in this age doesn't mean that you've got to do, you give up this and give up that, give up a home, hearth, it's a live in the world. And Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of the boat is in the water. That's how you should be. The water should not be in the boat.
Right.
At times, that's what happens. The water gets into the boat, and so we are now sloshing about in that water in the boat. But enlightenment is this: you rise above everything. You are there, free. It is just recognizing yourself as the divine, and that's what this mantra is saying. The individual soul, which is not independent, becomes bound due to a sense of being the enjoyer, the experiencer. Because I want to have this and that and this and that, I become kind of bound. Realizing the effulgent being, it becomes free from all bondages. Now, where is this effulgent being? The word used is Devam, the bright being, the supreme being, like she was saying. It's translated as supreme being. It's within you. So enlightenment is not a kind of a going forth outside to do something. Yes, Vedanta is very clear. It is there that effulgent being is within, that Devam. And once you realize that, so here you say, Muchyate sarvapat. Muchyate is become freed. And from all, you can say, bondages. So, Pasha is like a kind of a noose. You're freed from all types of noose. We put a noose around our neck. And somebody's pulling us here, and we're going there. Somebody's pulling us there, and we're going there. Somebody is hanging us. Not only neck, we're putting the noose all around us. It's kind of. There was an old story, if you remember, that Gullivers Travels, and Gulliver in the land of the, you can see those, small, tiny beings.
Gnomes or something? Gnomes?
Gulliver. He went to Gulliver's,
I don't know.
the land of the, this you can say, the giants. Once he ended up in an island where they're all tiny people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he actually he was sleeping, and then he found out what happened was he cannot move himself, cannot lift, and he found himself tied by very and so people coming up and down, crawling up on him and this and that. People, but pygmy dwarfs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how they tied him up with those ropes, and they kind of they threw a noose around his limbs and his head and hair. So there he was. Yes, I think you should be knowing all these things.
You know way more than I do.
So there you are, and then you're hungry, and then you're all the little men bought all those tubs of water and food, and they're throwing it out in his mouth, and so it's like that.
How did he become free?
Yeah. He breaks, then he makes friends, I think, with them. I'm not very sure, but I think.
Too long ago, I can't
John C.
remember.
Huh?
The Lilliputians?
Lilliputian.
That's right.
Yes. Gulliver in the land of the Lilliputian. Yes. It's by a very famous, you can say, author. Who's that author?
Jonathan Swift.
Yes, Jonathan Swift. Yeah. Very famous.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
no, it's way
There.
back though in my memory.
Yeah.
So.
Not even.
Land of the Lilliputians. Yeah, so you see, I was not wrong. So it's exactly this, somewhere you want to break through, break free. And that is what your soul actually. How come I got into this rubbish experience? You put your hand and you got caught. Somebody caught you and they pulled you and said, come in. There you are. So the idea is this, the whole, now there is, that's the rest of the argument in the commentary is, there's one universal soul, that's a Isha, and there are many individual souls which are bound. Now, how do you account for that diversity? The example given is page 77. So, saying, so also does the Venerable Yajnavalkya show that the difference is only due to the limiting adjuncts. That is, limiting adjunct, something limits you differently, something limits me differently. Yeah? As space, which is verily one, like if you take a supreme soul as space, Akash, is one, appears differently in pots, etc. You have a long, tall pot, you have a short pot, pot-bellied pot, and you have different types of pots and pans and all these things, different shapes and sizes. So what is common? It's a space within that pot which is one. It is the same space which is in this room is also the space which is outside there or in that room. The matakash, patakash, and akash. Different. So what makes the space, you can say, limited? These walls. So there are some people who are rich, there are some people who are poor, there are some people who are learned, there are some people who are ignorant, some people are famous, some people are not famous, and this whole, you can say, some people have got more energy, some people have less energy. All these are the, you can say, pots. And the space that it's, I'm one. It appears as if it's divided. So that supreme soul, one supreme soul, appears in different bodies as different. You are different, I am different, he is different. No, as a soul, we are one. As the parallel is given in space, but there are limiting. Some are expensive pots. In India, we have pots. When you think of pots, like metal pots. Yeah, it could be metal pots also. But in India, what happens whenever we say pot, we have the idea of an earthen pot, a pot made of earth, clay. And have various kinds of pots. And when we are young, I remember when we were young, we used to cook. Our mothers and grandmothers used to cook in those earthen pots. Hey, and then he's saying, this thing broken, get a new one. And this and one. So it used to work even on an open fire. And in the earthen pots are used everywhere. So the earthen pots, the pots made of clay, they are functional, but they break also easily. So suppose you break this earthen, this pot.
Mm.
If it's a metal pot, it will become a little difficult. You break that. Hey, I'm space. I'm that unlimited. So how did this? Oh, I'm male, I'm female, I'm not neither male nor female, I'm this, I'm that, I'm from New York, I'm from California, and I'm this, and I'm from India, and I'm from this. So we have conjured up a kind of an individuality, and that limits us. That's why it's called a limiting agent. It limits us. This is where. So every thought that comes in your mind, it's a kind of a limitation.
Every like self-image, everything that you attach to yourself with.
Yeah.
As a thought.
Yes, yes.
Everything.
Everything, whatever you think, if it is not a divine thought, it will create bondage.
Okay. Whoops.
So,
Whoops.
oops. So that's why they say that think of the Lord, think of your divine nature, and that will break.
Line one. Rocco, line one.
I think the word adjuncts is a little strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, or else I don't
Limitations.
limitations is what it should be.
In Sanskrit, it is used as upadhis.
Upadi.
Yeah. So you say,
Limiting.
yeah, even your name,
Yeah.
your race, your language, your culture, your civilization, that also are all these limiting agents, limitations we put on ourselves. Why do we need to define ourselves?
No.
I'm defined by this. Simple as that. Oh, really? But you put a kind of a limitations on yourself. Instead of thinking of yourself as a divine, you have done all these things. So when this experience, it realizes or it sees or experiences that inner devam, that effulgent being, it becomes free from everything. So, and the rest of the commentary is nothing but speaking of the same thing in a kind of a different scriptures. It's not required.
Maybe should.